If you're watching this video, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that you are tired or even exhausted at using dating apps. So I want to share with you a better way out, a way for you to connect with and find the love of your life, but not in a way that makes you want to take a shower every time you close your phone. Because let's be honest, the experience for most women, especially in midlife, of getting on that thing and swiping and being rejected hundreds of times a week, and maybe getting connected with guys who are sending one-word messages and being disrespectful, dismissive, or worse, scamming women. It's not a fun experience. And my whole thing is, I know that it's possible, regardless of how challenging you think it is, to find and meet the human being that you're meant to be with, the love of your life. It's humanly possible, even though it's not the thing that most people are experiencing right now. And I know a thing or two because in my life, I've dedicated the last 14 years to guiding women from 24 countries, all kinds of love challenges that you can't even imagine, despite not having experienced the depth of connection and intimacy, to finally attract a human being, a man who is connected, who sees them, who loves them, who shows up for them, and in a way that's sustainable, like stands the test of time. So with that said, I want to plant the seed that if you are in any way saying, I hate the feeling of being disposable, who doesn't? Or I'm going to hang in the towel because I'm just so tired of this thing. And I don't think my guy is out there. The guy that I want is already taken. If you're feeling that way, my heart goes out to you. I'm not here to criticize you or to say that there's anything wrong with you, because there isn't. There's significant challenges for women in midlife right now. The feeling of not getting what you want, unfortunately, is becoming a norm. And I'm here to shake things up. I'm here to show you an actual way out, not through strategies and the next best app or the best texting message that's going to blow his heart open. All those things are complete and utter BS. And if you're still watching YouTube videos about relationships and you've seen some of those, then it tells me that they probably haven't worked for you. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm not here to just pump you up with false positivity. That's not what I'm about. I'm here to show you what it really takes to create the type of connection that you've dreamed about probably your entire adult life. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm first going to share the specific reasons why I'm suggesting that unless you have someone who's guiding you right now and a very profound strategy, which is not what most people have, that you should probably break up your dating apps. And then I'm going to show you also what are the ways in which you can absolutely still get what you want. So first reason why apps are broken is because they create this experience called intermittent reinforcement. And that's the experience of getting addicted to inconsistency. I've shared the example before, but if you haven't seen that video, they take a group of mice and in the little cages, they feed them every time they touch a little lever, food comes out. And that's another group of mice in separate cages. Whenever they press the lever, sometimes they get food, sometimes they get nothing. Here's what happens with mice and also with humans. When you get inconsistency, when you press the lever and you get goodness or nothing, your brain becomes addicted to pulling the lever because it doesn't know when it's going to get the reward. Also, when the food stops coming out altogether, for both groups of mice, the mice who were getting food only every time they pressed it, they stopped pressing it. They learned that they should stop and move on. The mice who learned intermittent reinforcement keep pressing it for far longer. How does this translate to dating? Dating apps, you can get a hello beautiful message that creates a feeling of excitement and joy if it's the right person and if he has plans to take you out. And you also can get nothing, or you can actually message someone who seems really interested in you and starts connecting back and forth, and he disappears. And then you're wondering, is he ever going to come back or not? That is intermittent reinforcement, and that makes dating apps dangerously addictive. Behavioral researchers now place dating apps in the same category as casinos. A casino is an addictive experience because you give money to the casino. The casino always wins, by the way. You get the illusion of winning. You win 3 gold coins and then you lose 500, but you keep pressing the lever. So that's the first reason why dating apps are so challenging. Second reason is Barry Schwartz, many years ago, coined this concept of the paradox of choice. The more choices you have, the more difficult it is to make the right choice, because when you do make the right choice, you start thinking, was it really the right choice? I'll give you an analogy. Imagine that you have a tiny, elegant bread and butter plate, and you go to the buffet that has 50 dishes from lobster to the best sushi in the world. And here you are going around the buffet with 50 dishes with a little tiny plate. What every time you grab something, put on your plate, you're missing out on something seemingly great. That's what dating apps do. They create for both men and women the illusion of infinite abundance. So what happens when you have infinite abundance? A, it's hard to make a choice on someone, even if it's an incredible human being. And B, you think foolishly that if it's not that person, then you can go for the next person. There's an essence of being disposable. That's what that whole abundance of choices creates. Third reason dating apps are so painfully challenging is because they, in essence, remove the humanity and the accountability from a human being. What I mean by that, imagine that back in the day, you create a connection with your neighbor or a guy who goes to your church and he's not nice to you. Guess what's going to happen? For the next 10 years, he's going to see you every Sunday at church and face the wrath of his bad decisions and the embarrassment or shame of being mean to you. What happens when a guy is mean to you on a dating app? Nothing happens. He doesn't have to face the consequence. I can't even see your face, which leads me to the fourth consequence, which is the gamification of interaction. That means that when you are not seemingly connecting with a human being, you're connecting with a tiny picture on an app. There's a dehumanization aspect that takes place where you don't feel empathy for something you can't really see or feel or smell or witness. So what happens when this type of very toxic, especially if you don't have a system for regulating yourself, especially if you're using the apps all day long, like many people do, they've discovered that if you use dating apps, they did a study recently where they followed a group of people for 12 weeks. And at the end of 12 weeks, this group of women, they experienced the same level of emotional burnout than ICU nurses experience. So here you are, if you're using apps like most people, week number 12, you're as stressed in your nervous system as a nurse who is dealing with life or death situations on the intensive care unit. Now, before I share my solution, if you're single and you're watching this, I'll venture to guess that you're not aware of the root cause, not the superficial symptom why you're still single. And I put together a quiz, you can take it in about 60 seconds, that will show you your number one attraction blind spot. All you have to do if you want to participate is you go to the first link in the description. You're going to see a page that looks like this, answer a few simple questions. And in about 60 seconds, you'll get two things: the answer to the elusive question, why you're still single, and a custom report that will share, based on your specific challenge, what is the one thing you can start doing today to attract the man and the relationship you want in a tiny fraction of the time. Now, what to do about this? I'm going to share a statistic first to then invite you more powerfully to go into this. If you're a woman in the United States, and by the way, not just the United States, there's many countries that have the same type of systemic problem, and you have a college degree, you're between the ages of 40 and 64 or above, and you have an income that is median to your city or higher, there are 10 women for every 6 men. That's a challenging statistic. That means the supply and demand, unless you're not looking for someone who's a peer, because if you're not looking for a peer, then there's more. But if you are looking for a peer, it's a supply and demand imbalance. In Japan, the ratio is 5 to 10. 5 men for 10 women of that subgroup. So what do we do with this? I'm going to release a research project that will detail about 30 specific statistics and data points that will show you why you're not crazy, why you're not broken, why you're not someone who is just low self-esteem. That's why you can't get your guy. That's not the reason. The reason is because the system is broken and dating apps are part of it. Now, having said all of that, apps can still work, but for most people, they won't. So my alternative starts with the foundation of where all change occurs. I could share right now the strategy of how to go get this, but it will not make a difference in your life unless this specific portion is it. If you listen to nothing else in this entire video, but you only listen to this, I will feel super grateful because this is the shift that can make or break your process, that can allow you to create the connection you want, that can allow you to attract an incredible guy who wants to serve you in the best possible way, be devotional to you, or going and doing all things and going out, creating connections, using apps, and still not getting someone. And that is your resonance. Because there is so much noise out there, both on apps and outside of apps, and because there's this supply and demand imbalance, if you're authentic, radiant, brilliant, self expressed, very clear beacon of light isn't being put out there, you're going to have to compete for scraps. And I don't want you to do that. And the beacon of light that I'm talking about is not specific to any, you don't have to copy anyone. This is about what is the uniqueness that is you, and how can you connect to that life force with so much heart, so much excitement, so much truth, that who you are shouts loudly, as Rumi said, from your being. Because when you are able to be more you, there's no one who will embody that resonance, because every human being is different. And the best part about this whole thing is if you are being more authentically you, and you're connecting with things that make you feel alive, and you're someone who is really putting yourself out there from a place of possibility, from a place of openness, from a place of connection to who she is, not measuring herself cosmetically, but based on the inner force that is the most beautiful aspect of you, then that woman has more choices. And that woman is a stronger vibrational match to the type of guy she's looking for. Now, I'm not saying that every guy out there is a match for you. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is that you will find that person much more quickly, because that person is going to feel the idea of who you are and the essence of who you are without filters. So that's step number one. Without this, don't attempt the other two, because they're going to be a waste of your time. So if you are dating right now and you've been doing this app thing and it's not working for you, and you've been doing the attempting to go to bars and restaurants, which by the way are probably two of the worst places to connect with people at that level. I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm saying that, do you really want to go out and connect with a guy who's getting drunk with his friends? Is that really the type of man you want? And again, not everybody's getting drunk at bars, but you get the image. So if those are the things you're doing and the essence of who you are is not where it needs to be, then oof, it's going to be really challenging. So we need to shift that. And the easiest way to do that is take yourself out of the dating space for now. You will not be missing out. You will take a step back, regain that strength, regain that essence of you, and then put yourself out there with so much more clarity. Trust me, it seems like a step back, but it's just actually a step forward. The second step is simple, but you need to start getting out there in the right places. Because people talk about, hey, how do I connect with guys? You get out of your comfort zone. Because the truth is, if you are someone who is going to the same places and you're not getting the connection you want, two challenges exist. Number one is the you that's going to those places is not the resonant one I'm talking about, first of all, most likely. Second, if it is that resonant version of you, but you're trying to get water, imagine that the wrong well is the well that's in your backyard, and you keep putting the bucket in, and you get all the way down 100 meters, 300 feet into the earth, and then it comes out and there's dirt, no water, but it's in your backyard. So you say, this is what's easy to do. Then you're not going to get any water. You're going to have to go far out there into the field at night when it's dark, perhaps, and put in the bucket and get some fresh water from the well that actually has water. When I asked earlier if what you're doing is connecting with guys in restaurants and bars, is because those are environments that sometimes are not the most appropriate to create connections. If somebody's in a little group already with their friends and they're not really looking forward to create connections with people outside the little group, then it feels like you're intruding in some way, and it feels like it's hard to get someone to actually connect with you and look at you. It can happen, but if you create connections in rooms that are curated for values, imagine the difference between you going to a personal development 3-day event on the weekend. It's more challenging and more time consuming and probably more expensive than going to the local bar. But imagine the kind of men who are going to that and working on themselves for an entire weekend versus the kind that's getting a little tipsy or drunk at the bar on Friday with his friends, right? The rooms themselves will filter out qualities that are not appropriate for the room. So the better question to ask is, what are those spaces in my area? And I'm talking about curated salons for culture. I'm talking about maybe boards of governance. I'm talking about maybe volunteering groups where there's a group of business human beings, businessmen and women who get together to solve community problems. Is everyone there going to be single? No, but there are going to be some men who are single, who are forward thinking, who are business owners, or who are very into the essence of helping and serving others. Who do you think is a better match for you? And do you think that guy is on the apps? Maybe not. Okay, so I was about to press publish, and this happened this week. So I'm recording a little excerpt in the middle of the video to share something just to show you the example of the power of this being in the right rooms. A client of mine who had been tired of dating apps after just being there for a week. We connect, and I gave her a specific room to go into in her city. And she was a little skeptical because she thought it was going to be X type of man, maybe more geeky, maybe more boring. She enters the room, which happened to be an AI venture capitalist type of meetup. It wasn't a meetup, but it was a type of room. And incredible experience for her. She enters the room and she sees really cool, good looking men in sharp suits, shaking hands, being friendly, big smiles, connecting, being welcoming to her because it's the first time she showed up there. So part of the thing of a right room is they'll welcome you. Connects with lots of cool guys. One of them, first time she's there, asks her on a date. She says yes. They go out of the room into the date for an hour and a half, deep, powerful conversation. I have no idea what's going to happen with them, but that's not the point. The point is now she knows she is not at the mercy of the algorithm. She can go from nothing to something. She's not praying for rain. She's turning on the sprinkler system. That's what I want for you. And that's why this is so powerful. So if you take the time and space, and I'm going to create a separate video later on. If you want one of those videos, please share in a comment where I can give you more ideas on places. But right now, we need to get you to stop digging water out of that wrong well. We need to get you into the places that you're not venturing in right now because it's slightly uncomfortable or because your friends can't go there with you. Because when you go out with friends, then the likelihood that you're going to connect with somebody else is diminished. Why? Because you're going to talk to your friends. But if you're there by yourself, even if it's for lesser time, then you'll go out and create connections. Now, there's going to be rooms, there's certain meetups, there's certain groups of humans who get together for a common cause. And the only purpose of getting together is to have connections, is to talk, is to share ideas. No one goes to a decent, curated meetup group to be by themselves. But many people do those other activities just to be on their own. Another aspect that makes it incredibly easier for you to get a real connection with a man is how often does that room meet? If you go to a cooking class and there's business men and women after work who are excited about that type of food, and the thing there is to talk to each other. Maybe you see a guy the first time and he kind of looks at you with interest and you smile at him. And the second time, he actually happens to sit closer to you in that room and maybe says hello. That's the next step. Maybe the third time he asks you a question. Maybe the fourth time you exchange numbers. That would have never happened at a bar. It would have been way more challenging for the guy to walk the walk of shame, potentially be rejected by you, and then go back to his place. But if you're in a space that facilitates connection based on how recurrent it is, that filters out guys who are not purpose-driven, because the nature of the room is purpose-driven men and women, then you're putting yourself into the tiny fraction where the kind of guy that you are interested in exists. So the last thing I'll say is this. If you're tired, you have every right to be tired. If you're exhausted, if you want to punch the walls, if you want to say, I'm tired of guys, I'm with you, I understand. Not all guys are the same is the first thing I'll say to you. Second thing I'll say to you is if you make the right choices right now, if you follow the advice I'm sharing, you can find yourself 6 months from now, a year from now, in the best relationship of your life with a man who kisses your feet every morning, literally and metaphorically, with a man who shows up with aliveness and with devotion and with passion, with excitement, who wants to light up your life, who wants to create connection with you, hold hands, go to the river together, who wants to sing songs, who wants to be magical with you. That is what you stand to lose if you throw in the towel based on stupid apps. Forget about the apps. Go out and meet the world where it's at, where you can look at someone, smell that human being, where you can look into their eyes. We've been created through millennia to mate and to be attracted in real life with visuals. If you don't do that, you're missing out. Hope this is helpful, useful, insightful. If you find that this is helpful for you, it would mean the world to me if you click subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to continue learning how to attract the relationship you want without the need for gimmicks, manipulations, stupid techniques, or games, then please watch the next video right here.